Figure 4 rollout. This video has been sped up to just accommodate for time, so please keep that in mind. All in all, you could be here for anywhere from a minute up to 10 minutes, in all honesty, per leg. So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to target one side of your glutes or your hips at a time. By coming into the figure 4 position, you're going to be doing just that. I've got my left leg crossed over the top of my right leg, so I'm going to sit more onto my left cheek, opening up that glute area as I try to get in there with the foam roller. My preferred method is to roll up and down until I find a tender spot, continuing to do so it softens, and then rolling side to side. Lacrosse ball heel slides. This video is in real time, just so that you know. So taking a lacrosse ball, again working on one hip at a time, you're going to place the lacrosse ball underneath the backside of your hips, basically in the soft tissue of your glutes. From there, you're going to butterfly one leg out, the one that the ball is under. You'll go into heel slides, trying to be as relaxed throughout the hip as you possibly can, which is quite challenging. You're going to need to position your hips in various ways, exploring new positions as you go once you start to feel the tissue start to soften. As you're doing this, I want you to try to relax the body as much as possible, especially that glute tissue. Right in the hip, try to relax that hip as much as you possibly can and really allow the ball to get up into that tissue. Pigeon. You can of course come right into the pose, or you can try this approach, which I find helps lengthen the posterior chain a little bit before you go into the actual pose itself. When we're in pigeon, we want to stay super active. So the left leg is in front for me here. That means I'm pulling my left hip back and my right hip forward the entire time. I'm staying super, super active and not coming into this position, which is splayed and super relaxed. When we're in that relaxed position, we're not actually accomplishing much. So staying active will require more work. It's not as relaxing of a position, but the benefits will be greater. Over time, as you start to soften into the pose, you can start to scoot the back leg back a little bit to create a little bit more length in that front hip. If you'd like to, you can come down to your forearms or even rest your forehead on the floor. But again, please make sure that the hip stays square and that you're not becoming super relaxed in the pose. Seated figure 4. First, I'm going to show you the floor position. So in this example, I'm taking my left ankle, crossing it over the top of the right knee. That'll help me get into the left hip. It's very important that you stay upright with your spine. So if you need to, you can even hover your hips off the floor to create that length, or go into this next one where you use a box or a chair or a bench, crossing the leg over the top of the other one, same side. So here again, I'm trying to get into my left hip and either staying upright with the torso or slightly leaning forward with a straight back. Buddha. Just so you know, this video has been sped up, so I'm moving slower in real time. In this position, you are trying to maintain a straight spine. If you can't maintain a straight spine, I want you to hold on to something in front of you, likely above you, so that you can anchor your hips and yet have that support through your spine. Feet and toes are straight ahead. You're using your elbows to drive your knees open. Once you've settled into the pose, you can then go into these twists. If you're holding onto an object for that added support, you can still go for the twist, it just won't be quite as vertical. At the end, you can go into some standing forward folds, dropping back into that deep squat position each time, rolling the spine as you do so. Seated internal rotations. This video has been sped up. I would not be moving this fast normally in this movement. So as we do our seated internal rotations, please note that your knee does not have to touch the floor. In fact, you will tell right away if your hip says no, and you need to respect that. You are trying to keep one knee facing the ceiling, kneecap facing the ceiling, as you internally rotate to the other side. Then we'll go into these. Now, the goal here is to have a very straight spine, and you can see that as I come through the center, I do collapse forward slightly. So I myself am working on this, but you're trying to stay upright with your spine the entire time as you go side to side with internal rotation.